In the presence of Grenfell. It was a travesty what we saw, and it was a very, very painful, it's still a very, very painful scar for the people that live there now. But I wrote this poem sitting in the shadow of Grenfell on the 1 year anniversary. So it's quite long. I haven't learned it, which is unlike me, you know, you usually like to perform. But I'm going to read this poem for you. It's really, really close to my heart, and I think it's something that, you know, it shouldn't be forgotten. Yeah, it's something that we have to keep talking about, we have to keep shouting about, we have to make sure people are brought to justice and that the people actually, the survivors and the victims are remembered. Okay, so this is called Green for Grenfell. Today I'm wearing green for Grenfell. A year ago today, too many lost their lives. Husbands, fathers, brothers, sisters, daughters, wives. Babies that had barely tasted life, those with promise, many living with strife. The vulnerable, the strong, the old, the frail, lost their lives in the fire of Grenfell. Greeters for go, but they were told to stop, to sit and wait in that tower block. While smoke grew thick, urged on by flames, many sat and waited, but no one came. The next morning the shell was still ablaze, smoke still billowing, the acrid smell, the misty haze. A community shocked, still in a daze. How could this happen? It cannot be. This horror story can't be a reality. The tales of trauma began to seep. The haunted faces still haunt my sleep. The mother that let her baby drop, once she saw her baby was safe, the fighting has stopped. Hundreds shuffling downstairs, no light. Smoke so thick, dark as a starless night. Families separated in the commotion, hands torn apart in the human ocean. No room to run, no air to breathe. Some stayed put, some tried to leave. Desperate phone calls to those held dear. Goodbye messages, choked by smoke and fear. The brave who selflessly ran back inside, knocking on doors, saving life. But as time ticked on, the smoke grew dark. The flammable cladding was easily sparked. Just as the residents had lobbied and warned, but nobody listened, their pleas were scorned. Now look at the result of officials' greed. Children lost their parents, parents lost their seed. The fire set ablaze to family trees. Frantic searches for loved ones lost, hoping against hope, praying to God. Faces in pictures shown from place to place, still believing their worst fears would be erased. But for far too many, the dread never ceased. They were forced to face this nightmare. They still don't have peace. A year ago I watched it unfold with disbelief. My blood ran cold. 11 dead is what we were told. The media lie that the public was sold. For we waited and waited to welcome them in. We laid out beds again and again. We created a refuge for the weary to rest, for the weary to rest. But no one came. So few were left. Community hubs all did the same, but we did not know that this was in vain. Rugby Portobello, Latimer, Westway, Ackland Village, the Harrow Club, filled to the rafters with community love. Donations from far and wide. The community spirit, it touched me inside. We pulled together, we did what we could. All races and creeds, pulling together for the greater good. Volunteers came, so many hands. Brothers and sisters helping their fellow man. Giving their labour, their sweat and their tears. Holding in the pain, the doubt and the fears. We stacked and we stored, we sorted and packed, believing the victims would receive something back. Mountains of donations, humanity displayed. So much came, we had to turn people away. But where was the council? Not one official came. No coordination. Who is to blame? The Royal Borough of K&C stood back and did nothing. What a travesty. And our new Prime Minister, Theresa May, stayed muted and disabled for days and days. I hope you're all haunted by every name. I hope your heart still burns with dishonour and shame. We won't stop reminding of the fate that 72 or more met, or the plight of the survivors we'll never forget. Justice for Grenfell. We'll repeat this chant. We'll honour their memory, always in our thoughts, always in our hearts. Thank you.
Yeah. Just,
okay, so that
let's make some noise for Grenfell. Come on, boy.
Seriously, guys, it's something that we have to fight, but we have to talk, because at the end of the day, they knew. The families, and a lot of the information never got filtered through. Do you see what I'm saying? A lot of the images never got filtered through. On the ground, we saw the bodies coming out. You know, like the WhatsApp images. What they were showing to the media was like a fraction. So it's important that we keep talking and we keep going, because otherwise, no one will be held to account. So, justice for Grenfell. Okay, so now I'm gonna